he was always like super cool. Like sometimes when I used to like mess up on stuff and I'm like, Sylvester, can you help me? He's like, what did you do? Like, I pressed this button and I erased my footage. How did you do that? I don't remember. Please save me. He's like, okay, here. Let's go back to your footage. And this was on Avid. So this is how old, this acquaintance goes all the way back. So, welcome to the show. And he is currently, dang, what don't you do, Sylvester?
Well, Yuri, first of all, thank you for having me on your show. Congratulations. I've seen quite a few episodes, and I follow your adventures with film, and also I came to know your boy through a story that I worked on not long ago. Yeah, we met back in, gosh, 20 plus years ago at BMCC. That's where I studied myself and then later started working. And you were a student not to be forgotten. And just as you said, oh, how did you do it? Why did you do it? Nothing has changed. I'm still dealing with the same kind of, work where people do things and, they don't mean to, but they are there to learn and also create some wonderful things. So that's what I remember you from. But also, like I said not long ago, you came up on my screen when we were doing a story about you and your son. So what I do, I'm a video editor. I started this back in the mid '90s when I had a chance to come to New York, to move to New York City, and from Poland. I'm from Poland originally, and pursue it. And so it's been a long road, but I'm still focused and moving ahead.
So the video editing aspect now, do you think those years previous, all those years before coming to like, well, to BMCC and to New York, do you think all of that shaped you? Because sometimes people start with like a simple thing like, oh, I used to remember I used to like have somebody's video camera, or I used to like to take photos, or I felt like I had a knack for storytelling, like putting pieces together to do that and things like that.
It's funny you say that because I did not start with editing in my television career. I actually started with camera.
Huh.
And now, how, do you ask? I was maybe 5 or 6 years old, and my mom took me a live television taping back in Poland. And at one point, my mom said, there'll be a man with a box on his shoulder walking by, and I want you to wave to the man with the box on his shoulder.
Mhm.
And sometime later, we saw the show, and I saw myself waving to the camera on television, and I got blown away. I said, Mom, how did that happen? How did I end up in the television set?
Mhm.
She didn't know.
Mhm.
So I basically ran to her closet. I emptied one of the shoe boxes. I took an old projector. I broke it apart and put a lens on it and made a box. And I'm like, walking to my mom. Hi, Mom, look, you're on television, you're on television. Pretending like I'm filming
Oh,
her. So that was a joke, right? I got whooping for that, but for
oh.
destroying the box, and not too painful. But years later, I realized that there was something about those images, something about visuals that I was attracted to, and also films. So I turned maybe 14, 15. I bought a little still camera, film
Mhm.
camera, and I would start taking pictures and frame different scenes and life and then taking photos of like family affairs and things like that. But then I got a little more serious, and my mom was fortunate to afford a video camera that she bought for me, and like a home video camera.
Right.
And
They were so heavy back in the day. It's like, oh
yes,
my God, you felt it in your shoulder when you carried it, and you're like,
and it was so big that when I went around town filming, that's back in Poland, when I was filming just things around the city, I
mhm.
looked like I was from the news.
Oh no. Yes. Oh my gosh. I remember the big like Sonys. Oh my God.
And ironically, the guys from the news approached me one day because I was filming one of the parades or something. And they're
Mhm.
like, hey, would you like to contribute? Because I actually had a camera that they were using in their television station. It
Oh.
was VHS tapes, but it was a, semi-pro. So I said, why not? And that was about 16, 17 already. So I was, I kind of
You
got
were
my,
building your arm strength from the
yeah,
camera.
I had my, shoulder mount and everything.
Right.
So that was pretty good. And I liked it. I enjoyed it. I did events, I did interviews, I did, things around town. It's a small town, but it's a very, it was very good for learning, uh, but not good enough to learn professional television and professional filmmaking.
That's the kicker.
That's the kicker. So that's how I ended up in New York. And I
Oh,
said,
so
well,
mhm.
yeah.
No, so did you was it like a scholarship you applied for? Or was it like a program that you got into?
So when I moved to New York, I was still 18, 17, 18.
Okay.
And so I was still a high school age. I was a
Mhm.
senior.
Okay.
And so I was basically, my mom was saying, she was here, and she said, well, it's time for you to go to college. And I said, oh, interesting. But I didn't speak English.
Oh no.
A single word of English, nothing, nada, niente.
Oh my goodness.
So I said, well, mom, I think I have to go back a year. I have to go back to high school and I'm going to spend some time and learn English before I can go to college. And that's
No,
exactly what I did. That's exactly what I did. Um, but it was actually one of the most forming time for me because I made a lot of friends till this day, my best friends in here in New York. And also a high school I went to out here in Queens had a television station run by students.
Mm.
And it happened that the senior who was leaving, who was graduating that year, um, left the station without a leader. So, no
Your
English,
golden opportunity showed up and you
no English,
swooped
but I
in
know
like
what
an
to
eagle.
do. I grabbed it.
That's it.
So
Why not?
it was called Royal Vision, and I became Mr. Royal Vision.
Mr.
Mr. Royal
I
Vision.
like the name, Mr. Royal Vision. It sounds like a bad contest, but okay.
No, it was actually pretty cool though because so we had a daily show that basically aired maybe 3 or 4 minutes of what was going around the school, and
Mhm.
then they had like a channel one. I don't know if you remember back in the day.
Yes. Oh my God, I remember. And it was just weird because the way it came on, it was like very suspicious. They're like,
Yes.
shh, channel one. Okay,
Uh-huh.
cool. Where is this coming from? Where's the transmission? What do you mean, channel one?
Do you remember who hosted it?
No, I think it was like a blonde and maybe like a guy with brown hair.
Anderson Cooper.
Huh?
Anderson Cooper.
Anderson Cooper.
He
Oh yeah, that's why
started.
he had brown hair. Oh wow.
That's where he started. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So they came on at at 8 o'clock
Mhm.
for I think 11 minutes or so. And then right after that, we would come on with our little, dog and pony show for 3 minutes, 3, 4 minutes. It was a Catholic school, so we would open with a prayer and maybe today is the saints, Saint, I don't know, Francis Day, and we celebrate blah 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 and whatever little announcements. But then we would also have a little newscast, so students would actually talk about what went on yesterday, what's going to happen today, and then so on and so on. But it was pretty well produced. It was a newscaster, some graphics. We had interviews, microphones, lavaliers, lighting, studio, and everything. So that's where I really sharpened my teeth
Mhm.
and learned English at the same time, and also communication in English, meaning production terminology and a lot of the lingo and editing. That I was not used to before. And then, sure, I graduated high school and Mr. Royal Vision, and I started applying to college, and that's how I ended up at BMCC. And
Ah,
main reason I chose BMCC, I applied to a couple of colleges, was because of their Avid Lab.
right.
Yeah,
Uh, how I
so
got to BMCC was funny because the thing is, it's just mine is okay. Mine is not as loving. Mine is kind of I didn't know what to exactly pick when I was in high school. I went to an all-girls school, Catholic, of course. And I was just like, oh my God, what the hell am I gonna do? Because everybody had like one person goes, oh, I want to be a nurse, or I want to be a doctor, or I want to be a teacher. Everybody had like something, figured
Formed.
out,
Hmm.
formative, and just like going forward with it.
Yep.
And when it came to me, I was just like, okay, I just want to graduate high school because my mom is spending a lot of money for me to be here.
Yeah.
I don't want to let her down. So at that time, the New York Yankees won a couple of championships during my
Yes.
high school time in the 90s and
Yep.
96, 98. And
It's the
then
eight
when I
and
graduated
99.
in 2000, they won again.
Yeah.
Point is, um, I was like, I had a crush on Derek Jeter. It's like, oh my God, she's so cute. And I was like, you know what? I could be a newscaster. I don't mind, reporting the news. But the only thing is, I realized in terms of sports casting, I only liked baseball. I didn't like the other sports. I figured I'm like, yeah, I could do baseball, but if I had to report about soccer, hockey, football, you know, every tennis, any other sport, I might not be as energetic and happy about it. So then I was like, okay, you know what? I'll choose broadcasting. And then I looked into broadcasting. And how I landed up at BMCC was that I went for CUNY Brooklyn, but then they only accepted me based upon the financial aid they were going to provide.
Same thing here.
And I was just like, okay, fine. And then my mother goes like, why don't you apply for BMCC? It's in Manhattan and it's like a 30-minute train ride, so why not?
Hmm.
I said fine. And then I looked into the corporate cable communications program.
Yes. Oh, you got it. You think you got it, girl. CCC.
Yes, the CCC.
Yeah.
And then at one point, when I applied the first semester, first they had me in multimedia design. I was like, I don't want to do multimedia design. In retrospect, I should have done a double associates in multimedia and also CCC.
Hmm.
But I was like, all right, you know what? It's fine. Lesson learned. Life has gone on, and I've done, with all the emerging technologies, I'm okay. So I ended up at BMCC because of that. And I was like, okay. And yeah, so it was a learning curve. Remember Professor Tish?
Of course.
So for television production, I always landed up, she goes, okay, everybody has to learn something in terms of a television studio. What does everybody like to do? I said, mm. And I was just like, okay, I'm one out of four girls here in the program. Most of it's just a bunch of dudes. I was like, can I do the host thing? Sure. We'll just, you'll be the host of the show. Just, practice, make sure you stare at the person and, make eye contact with the camera and la 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 and blah blah blah. It's like, okay, fine, sure. And I was like, hi, welcome to the show. And
But
and then
that was interesting about her though. She came from theater. She
yes,
was she was an acting teacher
yes,
and coach
yes,
for for many years, and she also worked in networks. I think ABC, directing soap operas. So she had that way of speaking to people and kind of allowing you to do even if it's not on camera, behind the camera. Because I was trying to remember as you were saying, what did I do in her class? Because I did her classes as well, one and two,
mhm,
and I don't remember because I think I did everything. I was just I was like I want to do everything. There was not one particular thing, and I
mhm,
think she allowed that as well. She wanted to focus, and she wanted you to make
mhm,
sure that you do what you're responsible for at that time. But she gave you that ability to be very eclectic in that sense, and I think it would also make you a better person if, as a production person, if you knew about lighting and sound
yeah,
and this and that, and it's sort of even though you don't have to do it, you kind of know what's happening because if one says stop, we have to adjust the light, most people will be like, it's the lights again. But then if you know how much it means and what it takes, then you're like, cool,
exactly.
respect.
No,
Do
yeah.
it.
So, for me, it was just like, uh, I like how she used to call me. You're going to see here. Apparently likes the camera. She likes to be in front of the camera. And then I would do that. I would do like floor manager
Hmm.
at one point. I liked to do that. The switcher ever so often. It's just like when it was pressurized, and I'm like, oh God, okay. Camera one, camera two, camera three. Okay, do you? And then I was sitting there, okay, do you want? I said, do you want an establishing shot? Do you want a medium close up? Do you want a close up? Like, what do you want me to focus on here?
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's like, you got to give me proper instruction. Even if you're hovering over me like a spaceship, I need some instruction.
And that was always her spot. I think the switcher was the most important and most difficult to make because to operate because
Mhm.
that was her spot. She was always there,
Yes, yes.
right? She was occasionally in the studio, but once she liked the studio, the cameraman on headsets and everything, floor manager, you do floor manage, you do camera, you do this and that, and then, but she was in the control room, and I was quite that was quite a
Yeah. No,
yeah.
like when I had to, she goes like, but you're really, because she goes to me, oh, who wants to do switcher? And and she goes like, oh, but you really see you can do it. I'm like, no.
Yeah,
She looked at me like, are you scared of me? No, 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 no. No,
do the
I'm
switcher.
not scared of you. I just don't. The switcher is very intimate and very closed in.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I like you, Professor Tish. Not that close. She looked at me like, okay, I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah,
And I was just like,
intimidating,
okay. I said, can I just do more like, I'll do camera, I'll do the lighting, I'll do something else. I'll do the
less
boom mic if you
restrictive.
want me, but
Yes.
something not less cramped. I don't like when the space
Hmm.
is too enclosed and I have to like really like,
Right.
I don't know.
Make a decision. I think it's the most
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
important.
Oh, it was like
Yeah.
pressurized environment. I was just like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, okay. It's like I like you, but no.
And you have to remember that that was all live to tape, meaning they did not record every camera because this was a learning opportunity. So it was no place for an error and fix. Fixing was done in post-production. That was a whole different class. So
Oof.
what went on the program monitor was final. That's it. No fixing.
Exactly.
And remember, she was running around in front of the monitors. Take three, take four, five, take three, take
Yes.
four.
Oh my
You
God.
know?
That was just like
Yeah.
it just killed me. I was just like, oh dear God, this is like oof. I
But
said, okay.
she was like that all the time. Every
Yeah.
class was intense. It was She was very calm, very
Mhm.
under control. But once the tape started rolling and all the
Oh,
cues
forget it.
started coming out, it
She would
was a
just be
whole
running
different.
around. I
Yeah,
loved her for that and I respected her for that. And I was just like, I don't know if I can do what you do in television production though.
yeah, yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
And I liked, and this is, I guess, this translated into years later into me having this television show as I have it now. That a friend of mine, what jump started me back into doing this was I was doing interviews with for the film festival, the Mott Haven Film Festival, and I was like the beginning, like the general manager at the beginning of the festival, and I was just interviewing people that I knew. And she goes, "You have a knack for hosting. You didn't know that?" I said, "The person, the direct." I said, "I do." She's like, "Yeah, you ask really good questions, and people feel comfortable talking to you." I'm like, "Yeah, because I'm not, I'm not going like, what did you do last night?"
put you
It's
on the
just
spot.
like,
Yeah.
just be very cut and dry, and
Mm-hmm.
I take time to talk to people and, establish this is what we're going to do. And the one thing I always guarantee, I'm like, I'm not here to make anyone look bad. I'm so sorry. I don't want to look like a fool and look bad. I'm not out to make anyone else look bad. That is not my mission here with the show. It's to spotlight, the people and what they're doing and how they contribute to the community at large. That's kind of my whole thing. So yeah, it's incredible that I landed up doing TV so many years later. I was
Yeah.
just like, okay.
But there's something to it now that you say how you can go that crazy way. Why did you do it? Blah, 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 screaming at people and trying to get that one soundbite. But then there is also that human touch and a moment where you can sit down with someone and have a nice, thoughtful conversation. And whether it's about them or about you or about your common experience like you and I, have. And look, it's been 20 plus years, but we're talking about it like it happened last week.
No, I know.
It's so, bonding.
Yeah.
I don't know why, sensationalize things, and if there's so much nice things that you can make, and you can go to bed, sleep, nice and sound. You don't have to be worried. Oh my God, I should have asked him that, or why did I say that? Now I'm gonna be,
No, exactly, exactly. And I think that's the saving grace of television in terms of, being the person that you can control your image as much as you can. There's certain things that you could handle in post, and there's certain things that you can like deal with it as it goes along.
hmm
Like you always have to have like not the foresight, but you have to have that in mind. Like you can't let everything run over you.
right.
You have to be at some point like, you know what, stop, stop. The freight
hmm
truck needs the Mack truck needs to stop rolling,
Yep.
please. Um, but also when I did the show Latinas, it was very interesting because I was just like, oh my gosh, I haven't been interviewed in a while. So, and my son was like, what at that time? He was like 10.
hmm Yeah,
And
about that.
I spoke to Diana. Shout out to Diana. She was actually a guest on my show for season 2. And because she spoke the way she approached me about the interview was very interesting. So I was just looking at her like, what do you mean? She's like, no, you have a very interesting story. And the way you carry yourself and stuff like that, you're surprisingly organized, you're surprisingly calm and organized in the world of chaos. How do you manage? I'm like,
hmm
I was like, I have a child at home.
hmm
As a mom, you learn how to, balance that out somewhat. And I'm grateful that my mother helps me a lot. And, there's times that my mom, when I feel like I'm going crazy, she reels me and she's like, no, 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 focus on this.
hmm
Don't be the bull in the china shop. It's not going to help anybody if the shop is destroyed.
Yes, you have to
Focus
keep
on
order.
what you need to do,
Yes. Yeah.
you know? So, and then sometimes she's just like, you know what? You got this. I'm like,
You're doing
I
the right
don't know.
thing.
I was like,
Yeah.
no, no, mommy, I don't. No, no, no. You do. You'll be fine. You got to learn through trial and error, damn it. I was
She's
like,
a good
okay,
mother. She's a
love
good
you.
mother. A lot
Bye,
of mothers,
mother.
yes.
Yeah. So wow. Then you got to BMCC, right? Circling back. You got to BMCC. What what did you learn at BMCC that you felt is helped you form how you are in the industry now?
It's funny you say that because, unbeknownst, I've met quite a few people that I am currently working with
Mhm.
in the industry, whether at the place I'm at or outside. So whether they were students or my classmates, it's interesting that some people continue doing what they were studying, some go on to different things. But as they say, you stick together in your class, in your major, because those could be your coworkers or those could be your future bosses. It became so apparent that as I started working in the industry around 2005, a few years after I got my BMCC degree and then graduate degree at City College, I can literally tell you 5 or 6 people that we met back at BMCC and now we're working together. And we did not recommend each other or anything like that. It's just the way things came together. It's so amazing, and that it's almost like we're cut from the same cloth. And when we see each other and we meet each other and we're working on something together, it's like we were woven together. We were made together to do these
Yeah.
things. So I think those relationships that you make in your uh, formation time, whether high school or elementary school or more professional college and other schools, that is something that it kind of polishes you. And um,
Right, yeah.
I know one guy would be good in lighting, one would be in sound, one would be cameraman, and you kind of don't think about it, but then it comes back later in life, and you realize that yeah, those were good people, and you either get back in touch with them or you just your paths cross, and you're a good example with film screenings and festivals. You mentioned before we taped that you did these, and I did as well, and that's actually where I've met some of my old classmates and fellow filmmakers that I wouldn't have met. You know, of course, Facebook and whatever, but it's best to meet in the place of your interest. Like, people used to meet back in bars back in the day,
No, I'm
and
telling you, yeah.
now it's like so distant. But these things, this is a hands-on craft, hands-on industry. So you really, even if we're doing it remotely or taping shows and things like that, there comes a time where you really want to sit down with someone, shake their hands, um, and and talk and just literally have face to face, and then you end up doing things together in person. So I think you learn those things back in college, and I've learned that you have to keep these relationships alive. um,
Yeah, sure.
I think it's because it's also a very small society of people supporting each other, because it's not changing as much. You asked me how did it change from back then, how is it now. The actual thing that I'm doing hasn't changed a bit. Only the applications changed. It used to be Avid, and now it's Premiere, maybe Final Cut Pro, and big deal. It's still, the process is the same. Approaching the project is the same. You just said yourself that if you have something that you want to say, and you have it in the back of your head, that's all you need. It will make things spin the right way. But if you have no skills, no ideas, and I mean, we meet these people, and they kind of need guidance and they need support. So you sort of ask them, why did you go this way and not that way? Why don't you try doing this or doing that? And I'm still doing it. I I'll come across a graphic or maybe a title that I'm struggling with, and I'll go up to another editor and I'll say, hey, what do you think about this font or this animation? Or do you think it could come from this end or from this side? And it's these small things, but you never stop learning. So that's what I learned at BMCC, is that even though you acquire knowledge, you never really completely learn everything. And it's the people with you that are around you are your teachers. Sure, you can have your boss, you can have your supervisor, you can have your teacher, but it should go all way possible. You learn from them, they learn from you, and I think that's what the place I'm at also allows me, is that you have that freedom. You're not just a cookie cutter, or just we're in the news and we're making news and that's it, nothing else.
No, and I
Um,
think that's the beauty of the formative experience of college and having to have that type of environment. And, you get to learn creativity. Like when I went to City College, I landed up taking film and video production. So what was fun about that is that I also took creative writing, I took
mhm.
playwriting, I took theater directing and film directing.
So you went through the MCA, Media Communication Arts, and then you stepped out of the department. Where did you go? English
No, no,
or
no. I stayed in the
journalism?
department. I got my BA.
Okay.
So I didn't, the thing is, at the point when I was about to graduate in 2007, the year before in 2006, they're like, oh, we're doing the BFA. And I'm like, BFA?
Yes. They started it just as I graduated. I
Yeah,
graduated
I
with my
was like,
MFA in '05, and they're like, now we're going to do a BFA.
I was just like, you know what? I've been in college since I was 18. I'm exhausted. I'm tired.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I've learned what I need to learn, and let me see if these skills that I've learned thus far are applicable or I could do something.
Mhm.
Believe it or not, I tried to apply for grad school at CCNY. How did I get the financial aid, but I didn't get into the program? I was like, that hurt my feelings. That truly hurt my feelings.
They were pretty tough to get into. I got in because it only took 20 students a year.
I
I think they
know.
still do. It's very little amount of applicants that they actually choose. They're very strict
No,
with their
yeah.
admissions.
No,
But
and
yeah.
it was crazy. And when I did MCA, that's where I learned about Final Cut. I lucked out. Oh my gosh, did I luck out? I'm telling you, because they still had the reels, like the reel to reel, like the
Yep.
flatbeds. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God,
Yeah.
I do
We
not
shot
want
on
a
film.
flatbed.
Yes. Yeah.
I was like, please, dear God. And then they decided, oh, we're switching to digital. I'm like, ay, gracias, thank you. Because I had Avid at that time and I had
Hmm.
that in my head. And I was like, oh, Avid is just like, is the Final Cut Pro is just like Avid, but it's just a couple different things. I'm like, I can do a couple different things, just not the
Yes.
physical, like having to have like
The
the
reels
silver
and
and the
yeah,
gelatin and physically
the
cut it
tape and
and the
yeah,
tape.
yep.
I was like, oh no. I was like,
Splicer,
oh my gosh.
remember?
I said, you guys want me to go through PSD and like, PTSD, God forbid,
Yeah.
and also like be breathing in chemicals that I should not be breathing in from the gelatin. I was like,
Did
no.
did they have you develop the film down? What was it? What was the studio called downtown? Did you go and develop your film or
No, thank
did,
God. Oh my God. Gracias, Papa
so
Dios. I avoided
oh,
that like the plague.
oh, okay. I think what they did was the equipment room had some sort of transport between the what do they call
I
that
did
place?
do that, believe it or not. Oh, yes. With Judith Escalona's class.
Escalona.
I
Yes.
had to do the Bolex, the 16 millimeter.
Uh-huh.
That's when I had to do it was black and white, and I had to come up with a concept. And the funniest, the concept was pretty simple. So for her class, I was like, okay, it's a boyfriend and a girlfriend, and the girlfriend finds out that the boyfriend's cheating, and that's what happens. And she goes, I love Judith. I really do. She was also a guest on my show.
Uh-huh.
I loved when she said, I liked how simple it was, but it's like I was waiting for you to like put more action into it. Like he was gonna get slapped or something. I was like, yeah. I was on 135th and Broadway, right? In broad daylight. If people see someone like slapping each other up and stuff like that, and they may or may not know the person, it's gonna be a fight somewhere. And I had to be like,
Mhm.
no, no, it's for a film. No. What's your name? Get that. Stay there. No, 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 no. Please don't get involved.
We're good. We're good. This
We're
is under
good.
control.
Promise you, we're good. We're good.
But we all filmed our films around there. I was there not long ago. Why was I there for? Oh, because one of our old coworkers moved to City College, and I was hoping to meet her, but she was not there that day. Anyway, I was walking around all those little corners, little, dead ends.